show you who they are, you got to believe them. Now, I think the problem with this here, right here, this little nugget right there, the problem is that so many people take these memes and you have no real understanding of that, right? Because wisdom is knowledge applied and lived through through experience. So when you get this knowledge about trusting people for who they are and who they show you, and you don't have no real wisdom behind that, you don't really have an understanding of what that means, what she meant when she said when people show you their true colors, believe them. Well, you have no understanding of that. What happens is you're putting the wrong people in the wrong positions in your life, and you're actually discarding a lot of people who God sent for you to help you. If you ever take the time to be with yourself and be real about the things that you prayed for, I had to realize for me, and this is something I've known, I think the moment I started to walk in my purpose and I was doing it, and I got to a point where I was like, oh my God, I'm going to need help. I need help. There are things I cannot do on my own. I realized that God is so faithful, and I prayed over those things. And so he sent people into my life. The problem with a lot of people today is that since you don't have that level of self-awareness, when God sends people in your life, you don't even understand what this relationship is for, what it's about, what this person is here to do. And so typically you're just so self-absorbed in your own internet knowledge, you know what I mean? Your own internet meme principle, these principalities that you have no understanding of, sweetheart, you know what I mean? Or a young man, you know what I mean? And so what happens is you're negating your own intuition, because it's like, how can you say this person is who they showed you when they had maybe one bad day and y'all been friends for X amount of years, and this person has done this and this and this, you know what I mean? It's not a matter of testing, but it's just like this person has shown you who they were. But since you got online and you seen that meme and this person had a bad day, now you're taking that and you're placing that on that person. And so I just think that overall, we just have a bunch of people running around who just really who just lack understanding, you know what I mean? Who lack understanding, who don't really have any real life experience. I listen to so many podcasters, and sometimes I'm just really upset. I'm not going to lie. Okay, let me not say upset. I think that's actually the wrong emotion that I wanted to convey. But something that I've just noticed, I'm just going to keep it brief. I'm not even going to, I'm going to take the personal things out of it. But something that I've noticed is that we have so many people who do things just because they can. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you right now, anytime you do something just because you can, it just kind of shows up in the effort. It shows up in the finished product. It just shows up. We can all see it. You know what I mean? Versus a person who's called to that. And so I just think today we have so many people who are in lanes that they should just have no business being in. You know what I mean? And that's just real. So I'm going to leave that there. I don't even want to go down that path. But yeah, so I just, one of the things I just want to talk about is let's normalize let's denormalize. Does that even work? What we should do, we should get rid of, negotiating toxic behaviors. And I don't even want to say toxic behavior. Let's just say, let's get rid of going against our own intuition. Everybody has a journey on your life and, in your life. And this journey is here to teach you things. You're supposed to learn things through experience. It's not all a matter of reading something or seeing something and then trying to apply. You have to learn about life, you know what I mean? And you have to go through your own experiences. And yeah, you can learn from others, absolutely. But I just think right now it's just too much noise, you know what I mean? And you need to be in a space where you can think and hear yourself and, be in a space where you're real with yourself. I knew for me when I was in my last relationship, I knew that, I'm actually a very emotional, sensitive person. I didn't know that at first, you know what I mean? So it's you start to recognize certain things about yourself, but that just comes with time. And I really share that example because relationships do come to teach you certain things. Some people come to teach you certain things, but you should always be reflecting after every relationship, after every encounter with the person, and I don't like this idea too of this person, I'm just picking up on their energy. Don't get me wrong. I think that energy is definitely transferable. So I actually I feel that, but I think at the same time, you got to be mindful of your energy. And I think that's the point that I'm trying to make. The statement that, I'm picking up on this person's energy, this person's competitive. I know I'm not really a competitive person. That's real, especially when you're an empathetic person. I think most women honestly are empathetic, but that's real. But I think it's most important to realize your energy. Are you a competitive person? How are you showing up? I once heard Oprah say that, you're only responsible, like when you walk into a room, you're only responsible for your energy. And I feel that, and so I think until you sit with yourself and you really get real with yourself, and stillness takes time. Like I took some time, but I still got time. You know what I mean? God willing, I still got time, so it's continuous. But at the end of the day, it's just like, understanding yourself is so important, and I just think that that's what we lack overall. And like I said, I'm not opposed to therapy. I think it's cool. Like I would be willing, but it's not anything that I like. In the beginning, I think I wanted to just to get a better understanding, but I feel like I'm somebody who spends a lot of time alone, so I'm always kind of self-reflecting, and I'm just a person who's very self-aware, I can honestly say. And so I feel as though if you're not necessarily in that space, like, if you have no recollection of like who you really are, and you have no understanding of why you do what you do, and you haven't really took that time to really take some self-discovery, then I think it would be really good for you to go to therapy, because a lot of people can't sit in that space and be like, oh my God, like I'm insecure. You know what I mean? Like you can't sit in that space and feel that, and understand too, like when I talk about these, what society kind of deems as negative characteristics, like insecurities and, emotions and things like that. It's like, I've felt those things. Like of course I've been a person who's insecure. That's why I'm confident. You know what I mean? Like I need everybody to hear me clearly. Even in my previous episode, like I tell you guys straight up, I tell you in my book Seasons, like, and I had to learn for myself to stop overcompensating. But, it's a real thing. I think people think that confidence and self-love and all of these things is something that you're born with or something that's handed to you, but it's not. I had to work for my confidence. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because it's like you would think that some things kind of just come to us, but it really doesn't, So yeah, I was definitely somebody who was insecure, but now I'm confident. So here I am, So those are just kind of like my personal truths in regards to this whole understanding and compassion, and just kind of how it's all misconstrued. I feel like right now we're just creating a society of doormats. You know what I mean? Like we are too tolerant of things, and I really feel like it's obviously based on a scarcity mindset. Personally, like I think I said it in previous episodes, like normalized breakups. You know what I mean? And the sad part about today is like you can't say anything truthful or real without hurting people's feelings. Oh my goodness, you're bitter, or you know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. I think that there are some healthy relationships out there, and there are some people who are thriving and who are happy in their marriages. Like I actually do believe that. But the thing is, there are some people who are not. And there are people who stay and they deal with things because they think that it's supposed to be hard. I had to learn for myself. That was one societal influence and like construct that I had to break down mentally. I'm like, oh no. You know what I mean? Nothing that comes this hard, this much work. You know what I mean? This is not work, honey. This is force, So you just got to be mindful of those things. And I think, when it comes to jealousy is such a dangerous emotion because it turns into envy, and it kind of shows up like love and hate, and that's real. You know what I mean? So why would you want to like hate is such a strong emotion. You know what I mean? Hate is like, that's like derived from like hell. You know what I mean? That's such a strong and negative emotion. Like, why would you want that type of force around your life? You know what I mean? Just because you understand it? Absolutely not. So, use your own common sense when you listen to things and when you tap into certain people. And even though we're tapping into science and spirituality and we have all of this understanding and all of this information, it's helpful. But at the same time, think for yourself. And this isn't a matter of just conjuring up some bull crap to be like, oh, I'm just going to go a different way when good and well what they said, or, you know what I mean, what was delivered in that moment was truthful and it resonated with you. So I'm not saying just be silly out here and just like ignore advice and wisdom from people who are called to those spaces, right, and anointed in those spaces. But I definitely think overall it's like think for yourself and make your own decisions, and do not go against what you know to be true and to be right for you. Because what you got to understand about memes and therapy and all these things that are online, like understand it's not a one size fit all. Just because that was a conversation that was had in that moment, that doesn't mean you can apply that to your life. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that applies to your life. And so in order to really dissect things, I had to learn for myself. I'm like, all right, when I'm consumed with a lot of information, because I'm somebody who loves learning, honey, I bathe in books, I bathe in knowledge. But I had to learn that sometimes you have to take time to kind of step away from that and just be like, okay, what did I just learn? How did this make me feel? Like, is it, in regards to your discernment, and just, understand that everything is not for you to apply to your life, and everything doesn't apply to you. You know what I mean? So, and you got to be real with yourself too. Like, if you have a friend and like you walk around thinking that this friend is jealous of you, you have to, okay, you know what? I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to go there because I think that is just a little, So listen, you guys, I'm going to leave you guys with your thoughts in regards to this podcast episode. And I'm going to try to find a way for us to connect and like converse afterwards. But I love the flow of things. And I'm going to leave you guys with your thoughts. And I hope everybody has a great day. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Earthen's Den. And in today's episode, I want to talk to you guys about something that I realized when it comes to today's society and just how we baby-proof everything. You know, I'm hearing a lot of therapists go around say like, oh, if you have feelings of jealousy, that's normal. That's normal. And so I really feel like because we have this pacified, sensitized culture in today's age, we have really broken down boundaries and barriers. And it's almost like because there is so much information that's readily available to us, it's almost like it is taking away our ability to think for ourselves and act on our own intuitions. I'm not here for this, quite frankly. I do not think it's okay to, just because we have an understanding of what something is, that does not mean that we need to tolerate it. You know what I mean? And for me, I'm so passionate about this, but I'm so over this, just kind of like trying to humanize everything. Like, don't get me wrong. I think that, yes, we should look at every person as a human, and we understand that we are capable of doing the same thing. Right, when we look at our just human rights and capabilities and the times that, you know, we too have made wrong decisions. So don't get me wrong, but I just think that right now we are normalizing abuse. We are normalizing things that are just not acceptable and are not okay. Yet at the same hand, we're telling people, oh, set boundaries. Let me tell you something about a person who struggles with an unhealthy level of narcissism, right? Because narcissism, essentially, I think it's like grief derived, and it just kind of means love of oneself. So it's a good thing to kind of have that, especially in today's world, when you have so many opinions and just life in general. I think that society kind of brings up so much of that against you, you know what I mean? So you kind of got to be rooted in yourself. But I really feel like when you have an unhealthy level of narcissism, you have people who just literally victimize themselves. So why am I going to sit here and be in a space where, yes, I understand it, but I keep allowing this person to treat me this way because I understand? That is not wisdom. That is weakness. You know what I mean? That is weakness. And so I think for me, I'm at a place in my life where it's like I have to like uproot this narrative, you guys. Like, I'm sick of it. I'm so sick and tired of people tolerating people and their negative behaviors and their just like nasty, bad energy towards, you know, another person because we understand it. No, just because we understand it doesn't mean, and here's the thing too, people are like, hold yourself accountable. Well, if you're not somebody who self-reflects, then it's kind of hard to hold yourself accountable. The problem with today's society is that it's so much noise. Nobody sits alone anymore. Nobody deals with their own stuff. Everybody is so cliquey. Everybody is so quick to run to the next friend, get in the next relationship. They don't sit and think about what it is that they've done. You know, it feels good to be the one who was victimized because I don't have to sit and reflect on anything I've done wrong, right? And so I'm just at a point in my life where, quite frankly, I've always been here, but I'm at a point now where I have zero tolerance. Like, I was a little bit tolerant, like maybe like 0.5. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't like 2 to, you know, wasn't on a scale of 10. I was like, from 1 to 10, I was like 0.5. But now I just have a zero tolerance. And especially because I've done so much work on myself, and even continuously, but I've done so much work on myself to where it's just like my level of self-awareness is real, and I've earned it. And I just will no longer sit around for this babying kind of like therapeutic, supportive bullcrap. I'm just going to keep it real. What it is, I'm sick of it. Just because we have an understanding does not mean we need to tolerate it. So when I talked about jealousy, no, it's not okay for your friends to be jealous of you. Absolutely not. And no, you do not need to dress every little thing. Now, understand this, though. When you have situations that are just not anything that is like derogatory or anything that is just like utterly disrespectful, personally, that's up for you to decide what's disrespect for you. But I think that it's just so many factors that kind of depend upon whether or not you should address a situation in a friendship. But honestly, I personally just feel like, you know, when people